How's it going, everyone? This is SagePent. Today's video is going to be starting off just talking about the current state of Helldivers 2 right now. First of all, I just want to say really quickly that the game is in a great state as far as gameplay. I think it's actually an amazing state. Some people would argue that the difficulty is an issue, but we'll get into that in a bit on how that technically isn't, but on certain missions it can be. So, right now, I'm at a place that some of you know and some of you don't, or maybe you do and just don't really care. This is Meridia. This was a planet at one point that we used to play on. Now, some of you, like me, were there in Meridia, so you'd think like, okay, why are you bringing this up? This feels like something we've already done. A lot of people haven't done the Meridia missions, the Dark Fluid missions, so this is content that a lot of new players could experience that haven't yet, and this is kind of going back to my point. Those missions were notoriously hard, but they were also kind of messed up where they were hard on every difficulty. Like level 1 was even hard for these missions. The bridge is yours, Helldiver. Thank you, Demet, sir. You're kind of interrupting me now. But my point is this really. Those types of missions, though, brought the game together in so many ways. It was peak because of the type of mission, even the end where the Shriekers would spawn at extraction. They need to adjust it for the levels that they set it to, but that's Arrowhead's issue, not, an issue of the mission. But the actual mission itself, and then you have everyone going to Super Earth, the planet getting exploded, was all amazing. And I will say that now, I really like this new mechanic of having things on the map, like the different points of interest, and getting to the next point of content, which everyone has told me that's going to be big, and I believe them as far as stratagems-wise, which I'm excited for. But I don't know if it's going to be a hub area. Look at all the people just chilling here. It's amazing. So that is pretty cool. Like, this is what is world building, which I think is the best part of this game. I think, and this is going to be a good, this isn't a complaining video, this is actually a good one. Like, hey, let's talk about like the current state and where can we go. A lot of people think we're hitting power creep, but I don't think so if we do it properly. Look at that. Need to give that a healthy patriotic salute real quick. Because everyone knows that before they patched the spread democracy missions, bots or bugs, they were insanely hard because they had almost infinite or glitches, as some people put it. But it wasn't infinite glitches, it was just proper for probably level 10 and what people actually want challenge wise. And actually there's plenty of videos I found where people were finally starting to beat it, myself included, with many different strategies. I saw people solo beating those missions, bots or bugs. So it's not that they were even insanely hard, it's that there is other difficulties we can find at level 10, but the problem is if you do the same type of mission for Eradicate or a Defense or even ICBM, it's just not the same. And that's the problem. The disparity isn't just the types of difficulty, it's the actual missions we select. So when we're saying new content, that kind of matters. And another thing too is, remember when the Factory Striders were coming out, and back in the day when we first were finding about Shriekers? And there was this really cool part where only some people were finding the Shriekers on certain planets, and then people were posting it on Reddit, and then there was like, oh, the developers were playing in character saying that anyone spreading these rumors is treason. Like, that was what was ruled. But what happened to that? There's no more discovering new things anymore. There's no more, I mean, besides the escalation of freedom, we had Impalers, which is cool. Impalers have been the best addition as far as enemy wise. Brood Commanders, kinda, not really. Just more of the same, just bigger warrior that spawns more. Spore Charger, don't get me started on them. But like, if we're not getting an Illuminate anytime soon, which would be amazing, but I don't know if they haven't tested any more than 18 according to the companion app, so we're probably not getting them anytime soon. I would at least just want some sort of like event or mission, like even when the Jet Brigade, when they show back up, if they also had like some sort of like mission with like something specific to them rather than just guys with jetpacks that blow up. While it was an extremely cool mechanic, like, keep going with it, keep furthering into these mechanics. It can be slow, a couple things here or there, but new content is what keeps people engaged in the game. I have a lot of friends that have uninstalled the game and moved on because they're just like, dude, it's the same thing over and over and over. And you can argue that, sure, that's like a lot of games, and Helldivers is no different, but it's a live service game, and it's a PvE horde shooter live service game at that, so it does matter on content. And content is not just war bonds and gear. Content is the things you do. And they said that they want to be a game that's around for like 10 plus years that does that. Without PvP, you're then relying on your content. Space Marine is a great example of this. Space Marine 2, they just released some brand new free content. And, I'm not trying to say that these games are the exact same or have the same player base or what have you, but perfect example of that right there. Escalation of Freedom really wasn't that much content, really, as far as like new missions or new different stuff. There's like the addition of bigger bases, but really it's just a base that's slightly bigger, and then there's an item you grab. There's nothing different about taking the base. So this DSS here, though, could be new stratagems, which would be actually new content. I'll give it that. But, I'm hearing that there's rumors that it's not going to be somewhere we can go in. It's not going to be a hub area like we all thought, which is a little disappointing. But these are just different things that the game needs. And like I said, hopefully we get the Illuminate at some point. But, apparently even asking for different mechanics that encourage different styles of gameplay. Like, for example, in the Meridia Dark Fluid missions, because of the increased Shrieker spawns at the end of missions, people were bringing Gatling Sentry and Tesla Tower and stratagems, and even the booster where you have to, you extract faster. Before that mission, no one ever brought the extract faster booster unless they were just memeing or they just really had no idea. It was just like, why would you pick it when there's so many other better choices? That was the first time where that booster was like, hey, we actually need it, because 30 seconds is still a long time when all these Shriekers are coming in and attacking us, especially at level 9. Back then, there was no level 10. So, different mission types encourage different play styles besides the same meta strategies, which is what Arrowhead wants. If they're not giving us new content, as far as the Illuminate or things like that, new mission types is how that is done. Because also, too, for those hardcores that are looking for higher difficulty, we found that all back like not too long ago with the Spread Democracy. That was a mission that I saw so many people commenting, and you'll probably see it in this video. Oh, I love those missions because me and my friends finally got the challenge we were looking for. So the hardcores, if they actually really wanted it, could load up a Spread Democracy mission, or now I guess it's acquire soil data, and they know they'll get the challenge that they're looking for. And it's not just the level; it's the mission, because you load that up at level 8 or 9, it's going to be much harder than level 10 defend mission, where you're defending walls and loading 8 rockets, because the bugs are spawn, or the patrols and the spawn rates of troops on the bots or bug side is broken. It's just too low. And Thick-Fillet had a video where he was bugs on the planet. And what if we have missions that only were on certain planets? Like, what if there's not just different modifiers for the planets on, but like, hey, if you're on a ice planet, those have their own missions. For example, the new biome for the jungle, like anything that has like the really dense, thick jungle that's like the mountains and such, and it's like a swamp. What if you had that on the bug side, but the only thing that spawned was stalkers and maybe impalers as well? And then also spore chargers. So you have spore chargers and stalkers, and just in this like terrifying, but it's a blitz style mission, and you don't have to worry about all the other bugs, and it's just like almost like a predator like feel. Like, get creative. Like, have a mission where maybe it is nothing but a different perspective. For example, I was actually just talking about World of Warcraft too.
Different perspective.
Yeah, because like a lot of people that talk about Helldivers, they're like me, right? Where they look up Helldivers videos all day, but they get locked in that echo chamber. They don't hear opinions from people that Helldivers isn't their favorite game, for example. Because like people are getting mad at me saying because I was just saying the game needs some new content, right? And I was giving ideas.
There's a lot of new content. It's starting to get bland.
See, right there, boom. It's starting to get bland.
I want to do the same missions.
And the parts that were kind of interesting was certain missions were a little bit more difficult, but even then it's what I was saying was, it'd be cool if they even just did the Dark Fluid event again, because you and most people in the Discord haven't even done that. And that was fun. It was a whole different thing. It was new content, and there was a reason to go and you run different strategies and stuff.
Because
we're not getting the Illumina anytime soon, so enjoy the game. I still love Helldivers. That's part of the reason we're talking about this, is that's why we want the new content. I saw someone was like, "Oh, you willing to pay for it?" It's like, dude, if it was like even $10, I would pay for it if we really want to get into that. I don't feel like we really should, considering they mentioned that content updates to this game are free. That's kind of the point of us playing this game. And then we buy the cosmetics to fuel them to keep adding content. Now, if they wanted to change that model, that's up to them. But I feel like there's a lot of easier ways they could do that.
We must give no less than the entirety of
the L jump to the Meridia system.
Does it tell me? Huh.
FTL jump successful.